Hello. Let's give it a minute for the ads to finish, and then we can get going. I was a little off on my timing today, so ads are still going. Get out of here. Dog here. Ah, Uh, is this still looking okay? I haven't touched this for weeks. It looks fine. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Ugh, 20 seconds. All right. Okay. I think ads are done or mostly done. How's everybody doing today? My name is Bear. I'm barely watercoloring. And I'm finally on and watercoloring. It's not barely anymore. It's real. Um, I have been putting off doing this, working on this Voyager painting for weeks now. Pretty much ever since I got it drawn and covered in masking fluid. It's time to do something with it. Even if it's only the first part of the stream, I want to at least get the beginning of the background scene going. Um, Do I know what nebula I'm putting behind it? No. I'm gonna have to end up just winging it and just do something totally abstract and random, like I figured I was going to do to begin with. I did all the tests uh, before, but I didn't really fall on anything that I loved. Uh, so I think I'm just gonna go with whatever comes out. I could maybe go off of that's not the right one. Get out of here. I'm here. I could kind of go off of this one and pick somebody from this that I like the colors of and replicate it. So that's a possibility. I do kind of like this one. This is the only one from this entire thing that's actually based off of real nebula. So that one is a very distinct possibility because the colors on it are so pretty and simple. So I might do that. Oh, one very much like it. I think that's a good option. So maybe we'll do that. But there's other ones here too that are really pretty that I could go off of. Like that one's kind of interesting, having some white streaks in it. Because then it's like, why are there white streaks? That's really interesting, right? Let's go investigate. That's kind of like a sun. I meant that one to be like a sun surface with sunspots. That one down there is kind of pretty on the bottom. I keep hitting the stand. So some of these are potential options or just a total randomness. But I may go with that one in the top left for the background here. I like that. I like the colors in that. So I think that might be a good option. See, figuring it out entirely off the cuff. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let me plan. So how are we gonna do this? Uh, well, I need to tape down the painting so it doesn't go anywhere. So we'll tape it down and then we'll go from there. I think we'll plan in stages. If I plan everything ahead of time, I'm just gonna let myself get overwhelmed. So let's just start with phase one, tape it down and get it secure. Once that's down, we can worry about what we're going to do. All right. So while I'm doing that, how is everybody doing out there in the world? Hope you guys are doing okay. If you have family coming in for holidays, I'm sure you're feeling all kinds of feelings about that. Some good, some bad. Sometimes having family around is wonderful and is a blessing. And sometimes it is just, I'm sure it's a total nightmare, right? Hopefully for those who have family coming in, it's a good thing. I'm going to tape this down, and this is the way it's staying. So once I get this tape down, it's going to be stuck on this board the whole time. So let's try to make sure I get that as closely aligned to where it's going to go as I can. Okay. Because it is 100% staying on this until it's done being painted. Ooh, it's gotten kind of warped, which is fascinating. I don't know how it did that, but it absolutely has become a tiny bit warped. So I'm just going to have to be really cautious the way I tape it. It could be a side effect of it having sat out for a while and not being used, not being painted on. I don't know. We'll see. And you, and you. I am doing okay myself. I'm actually quite happy that, knock on wood, it should be a peaceful week at work. There's no meetings really scheduled. That's always a bonus. Hopefully nobody decides to add anything, because that would be foolish to add something so close to Christmas and New Year's. You know, people do what they will. Outside of that, the weather is cold. It's not frozen yet, thankfully. We have not had any snow here yet, but we have been inundated with rain. There's been flooding at the wazoo, so hopefully everyone that's been dealing with flooding is doing all right. Why is that so warped? It's so weird. No, that seems to be doing well. So take that down. My mic is too far away. You move that over a little bit and turn it. That sounds a little better. Okay, you can tape down there. All right. And get along the edge and really tape it down. And how of this one? Oh, see, that might be a problem. It's very wobbly in there. And if it has too much like ripple going on, then I might accidentally have puddles forming. So I just have to be really careful about that. It's so weird that it worked like that. I don't know why it did. It didn't get wet or anything yet. I guess we'll see. I hope, I figured out the weird issue that was going on with my Apple Music. It was every now and then when a new song started, it would like go to full volume for like a split second and would deafen me. So because of that, I have been just trying to avoid using it sometimes. But I think I figured out a setting that was causing it, or a setting that corrected for it. So hopefully no more weird, crazy audio spikes from that. We don't all go deaf anymore. At least not from me, not from this. Do I want to do a second tape layer to really make sure this stays down since the whole thing's going to be wet? I think I do. And this is fairly flat now. I think we'll be okay. Let's look. Yeah, it seems okay. It might change and buckle a bit when it does truly get wet. But yeah, let's get another layer down. But before I do that, let me see. Do I have something safe that I can use to help tamp this down a little bit better? I don't want to use that because that might cut it. Oh yeah, this might work. Oh yeah, that's good because that's rounded. I think the bottom of this will actually work really well. This little mixing cup that I've got, it's a smooth plastic on the bottom and it's rounded. So I think I can go over the edges of this and really press down decently and stop it from popping up. Let me do that. The problem I've always got, at least usually have, with tape is every now and then it will try to pop up on me just enough when I'm doing full page washes, and it ends up getting under the tape and I lose that really pretty crisp line that you want. But I don't want to scrape on the paper itself. I want to get just over the edge of the tape. I do the paper itself, I might end up rubbing some of the paper the wrong way. Mhm. Oh yeah, I really like that because I can press inside of it to tamp it down. It's really nice. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna put another layer of tape along the bottom, the side, and the top here, just on the outside of this, to hold it down on the outer portion of it, and then probably tuck it under. So I think the goal today, excuse me, the goal is going to be to get the first layer of the nebula space scene down. I'm going to try to replicate the nebula in this corner, I think, because I like how that looks and it's both intricate and simple, which I like. And I will have it over in this upper right quadrant, and then I'm going to feather it toward a more indigo color on the outer fringes of it as it fades into normal space. And so the whole bulk of the outer portion of this is going to be normal space colors. And then we're going to put in at the very end, when we do finish painting, not today, but in the future, we'll put in stars and some warp lines showing that we're approaching that nebula at warp. I'm not quite sure how to do it just yet. I may have to do a practice before we start. And I want to figure out how to get a faint glow from the engines in the space around it so that when I go over it with the indigo, I can have a little bit of the glow shining through and popping. I'm not quite sure how to do that, so I may spend a moment to troubleshoot that and figure out how we're going to make that work. I think it's going to be do a light wash or light painting of the colors that we're going to use for the engine and the space around it on both sides, right? And then let that dry completely. And then we do our space background on and around it. And when it comes time to do indigo in that area, I'll do a little lighter, less heavy handed around the engine area to let the red and the blue shine through, and then darken everywhere else around it. But those areas can stay a little more faint. Because I figure if I do the blue and the red down first, if I do the blue and the red down first and let it dry and then put the indigo on top of it, it won't be as jarring. And I think if I tried to add the blue and the red on top of the indigo, I think you'd see all the like the hard lines from where I added it. I don't think it would blend really well. I don't know. It's worth experimenting. So we can do that here in a minute. Okay. One more across the top. Yes.
You're fine. Hello. Thanks, right?
Is that okay? I can try to lower it. Okay. See if that helps. Okay. My light was at full brightness and it might have been a bit too much. Okay. And one more on the left side. And that I think will be good for taste. Ah, no, you asked. Okay, no, it's good. It's good. Okay. Curled up and started sticking to itself. I always hate when tape does that. And let's press this down on the edges. All right. Let's take a bit of the tape. Now, let's just set this back for a minute. So let's think that through. So we have a chance to experiment here. So let's put this on this to cover it. And we've got, I have this already out, so I can probably use it. So, oh, I have this here too. So back when we did our testing of different paints that we're going to use for our engine, I ended up deciding on using the watercolor inks because it seemed to have the best color that I had available, at least at the time, to do the engines. The only things I've not tried yet that I realize I'm just not going to bother with is I have some brand new Daniel Smith paints that I'm going to be using, but I'm waiting on one more set to arrive, whenever the shipment gets here from, whatever side of the planet it's coming from. So I have some colors there, but I'm not going to bother trying to wait until those are available. Uh, the best colors I had available were two of these watercolor inks. It is the cerulean hue. So that's this one. You can see it's third one from the bottom. Right, it looks kind of sky blue. So I'm thinking this is going to be the best color I've got for the Star Trek nacelle, like the grill on the side of the engines. And for the red, after testing all of them, the cadmium red hue, so second from the top, was the closest I had to the other reds that are on the Star Trek ships. So the collectors, the Bassard collectors on the front of the ship, and the glow from impulse engines, torpedo bays, all those are pretty much the same color red. So those are the two I decided on. So the second from the top, cadmium red hue, and this cerulean, the third from the bottom. They are my closest options. So what I think I can do then is try a couple different methods. Since I'm going to be using these, I may as well get them shaken, not stirred. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't want to cough directly in your ear. Have some coffee. There we go. So yeah, I think what I'll do, I'll wet my palette, get it doing its thing, and then we'll just do some quick experiments. I think we can probably get away with 3 experiments, right? So let me get the pencil here. I'll just do 3 quickie experiments, right? So I'll just divide this into 3 sections, right? And we're going to do um I'll just call them LW for liquid watercolor, liquid watercolors first, then indigo. Then I'll do indigo, and the liquid watercolors. Then the last test, I'll do both at the same time. So we'll do our indigo plus our liquid watercolors. So that way we can see what happens if we put the indigo down and while it's wet, integrate some of our color from the liquid watercolors to see how they blend, if they displace, if they spread too far, what they're going to do, or are they just going to get dark and muddy? Either direction, we don't really know. So again, the idea is we're going to put the red and the blue down from these liquid watercolors, right? In this first one, we're going to put it down and let it dry. In the second one, we're going to put the indigo down and let it dry. In the third one, we'll put the indigo down and put the liquid watercolor down on top of it and experiment and see how it reacts with being put down together and let it dry. Then when these two are dry, we'll put its opposite on top of it in a thin layer and see how they look. And whatever the best looking option is out of the three is what we'll go with for the final result, right? So let's try that. I think it's a good idea, a good game plan to test. And this is good paper too. This is the arches. I took a sheet and I cut it into 4 to do different things with it the other day, and this is the last piece of that I had. Okay, so how am I going to do this is the question. Let me get some of the little palettes that I've got, wherever I put them. There we go. I'll use that. Okay, so I'll put a even amount of water in 2 of these wells, and I'll put some of the cadmium red and some of the cerulean blue in 2 different spots, mix it up really well and let it sit, and I'll have a well to work from. I'll go ahead and I'll add, because this is a test, I'll just add indigo to this, whatever's already in here in that well. So I'll have some indigo already mixed up and ready to use as well. And then I think we'll have what we need to test with. So let's do that. I do need some indigo, so I'll go ahead and wet that part of the palette down for now. And what the hell, I'll get just a tiny bit of water on the rest of the palette. I still got a whole other thing of water over here, but I'll need to refill this at some point. It's still half full. It's got plenty of water. All right. So let's get a dropper. Oh, geez, I just looked up at something and I saw my glasses are filthy. All right, so I'm gonna grab some lava. I'm gonna put a little bit in here, a little bit in here. Okay, and a little bit in our indigo over here. And I'll set that down over here for now. Let's pick on a round brush. Pikachu, I choose you. Size 6 round. My favorite. All right. And let me grab some indigo. And add it to our well over here. And how thick is that? I probably need some more. That's dark enough for what we're going to be playing with. All right. Let me dry that off. I've learned I really need to clean my brush after I use indigo because it will stain my brush forever if I don't. Oh, so much better. Man, getting these little scrubbies on the, I'll show one of these. Getting these little scrubbers on the bottom is like a life changer when it comes to cleaning my brushes. Oh, it was a worthwhile purchase. Always nice when that happens. All right. So let's go ahead and I think based on the order, let's go ahead and put the blue next to the indigo. If I can open it, that is. These are always so hard to open. Oh, get a hand cramp just doing that. All right. And let's put 1, 2, 3 drops and see how that looks when we stir it. Okay, how does that look? Oh, plenty for what we're going for. All right. Mm, clean that out. Okay. That should be plenty. Let me make sure this is closed. So I don't spring a leak. And let's get our red. I did 3 drops, so we'll do 3 drops of this one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should be more than enough. And from my experience, red bleeds like badly. So that's why I'm curious about this test because I had it on a wall over here, but I did the Delta Flyer once upon a time, and I tried doing the red for the like the insignia that goes along the whole side of the ship, right? And as soon as I hit it with water to do some of the hull coloring on top of it, it spread into the hull like nobody's business, and I couldn't undo it. So a lot of reds apparently tend to bleed. I did not know that. I'm sure there's some that don't, but I'm guessing based on how they make them, a lot of times they probably all have a problem with bleeding when you reactivate them. All right, let's see how that looks. Perfect for this. That's great. Okay, I like it. Let's go ahead and dry that off. Clean off the brush. And based on what we're doing, I think because we need to let it dry completely, it is a damn good question. How am I going to do it? Am I going to do wet on wet? But then it'll take a really long time to dry and it'll probably curl the paper. So I probably need to do wet on dry and just be really gentle with it. How about I do it like this? How about I do a little of both? How about I do a little circle here and a little circle here and just disappears. Okay. I have a couple circles, and let's try some of the cerulean in there. And I just cannot see it. Put a little in the middle. Okay. Let me dry that off and grab some clean water. And I'm going to spread it out. Okay. And let's do a tiny bit of red. I can't even see it. Just disappears. There you go. Right. And then clean water. And same thing. So I'm just going to scrub around the outer edges of it to draw it outward. I went right across it and pull some of that back. Hey, Desert Dragon Lover. Hey, lurking below. Hi. Welcome in. Nope, you're all good to lurk. I get it. I lurk all the time. I am doing some experiments before I work on painting the Voyager painting finally, this guy. I've decided I'm going to do this nebula design in the top right quadrant of this. So I'm going to do a very similar nebula in this upper section and then fade. I call it fade, but whatever I call it, gradient, fade, whatever. Fade to black, basically, fade to indigo. And the whole outer portion out here on the top left, and bottom right will be indigo. But I'm working on a quick test to see when I do the engine glow from the light from the engines on the ship, either side right here. I want to test doing the blue and the red glow with some of the indigo on it, but just enough so that it looks like the engines are glowing. I've never had a real luck with that, so I'm doing like a three-way test with it. I'm thinking I put some of it down here first, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to put indigo over the top of it. Darker on the outer, lighter over the top and around it to see how it kind of bleeds into it. Then I'm going to do the reverse of that. I'm going to do indigo first here and leave a fainter section in two areas. Then I'm going to add some of the blue and the red on top of that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is do both at the same time while they're wet. So I'm going to put some of the indigo down and leave it faint. And while it's wet, I'm going to introduce a tiny bit of the blue and the red while it's still wet to see how they bleed together or bloom. And then whatever looks the best and the most even is what's going to be used. So fingers crossed. While we're here, let's go ahead and add some of our indigo to that second one. I'm just going to load the brush up with it, and I'll put a bunch in the outer areas. Okay, and let me thin it a little bit. I'll try pulling back some of it, or lifting it, I guess we can say. I hope you're doing well today. Okay. It's actually really interesting trying to do indigo and leave faint areas in it that don't look splotchy. That's actually harder than I thought it was going to be. We'll see. All right. And while that's going, let's do that down here as well. And then I can try doing both. vacuum out a little tiny bit better. Okay. And let's clean and grab a tiny bit of our blue, our cerulean, and put a tiny dot of it in the middle. Okay. And then I'm just going to scrub it in. See how it looks. I have to remember it's going to dry lighter, so I might need it to be a little bit darker. Okay, it's interesting. Let's try the red. Actually, I think I need to pull some of this back. I started spraying. Okay. That's quite a bit already. Try to spread it into the area around it. Interesting. Okay. It's definitely interesting. Let's try this and see what it looks like, and then we'll do our alternate colors on these two and see what they look like. Hi, guys. Welcome in. It's good to see you. What am I working on today? So I am working on, excuse me, I'm going to be working on a little bit of the Voyager. It may end up being what I do entirely tonight. We'll see how long it takes. But I'm going to try to get the nebula down and try to get at least the first layer so that it can sit and dry of that and a first layer of indigo around this whole section. But what I'm testing right now is doing the engine glow. So around the engines here on this side is going to be a bluish color and then a red. And the same thing over on this side to kind of show the glow from the engines in space. I'm trying to experiment and see like what methods might work for that. For the nebula from this guy, I'm going to do the one that's based off a real nebula. I don't remember which one it is. I don't remember. But this one was the prettiest, I think. And I think has enough different colors going on at once that I think it would be really neat to blow it up and do a big version of it on the Voyager. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm testing putting some of the cerulean blue and the cadmium red down first and letting it dry. And then I'm going to go over it with some of the indigo. I'm doing the reverse of that, putting indigo down and leaving some lighter colored areas to put some of the two colors down on top after it dries. And then this one was doing both at the same time while they were wet to see how they react with each other. So I just dried it off mostly. It's still kind of, oh, excuse me, hiccup. Kind of wet in the corner. Let me continue drying that. But how are you doing? I hope you're doing all right today. Yes, productive. Just sitting down to dinner with your favorite dinner show. That's awesome. What are you watching? If you don't mind me asking. And I'm gonna keep fiddling with this. So let me grab some water and some of the indigo. Oh, you see? Oh, me? Oh, please. I thought you were talking about literally sitting down to watch something interesting. Not interesting. I'm just here. All right. I'm gonna do like a dark ring around them, and then I'm gonna bring it in towards it. I don't know if that's the right decision, but I'm gonna go for it. Okay, so we fin it. I am. Okay. I'll let it slide. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, and grab some of that and grab some of this over here. Okay. And down this way and this way and a little around that. And then dry that off and grab a little more water. Okay, and bring it in a little bit more. Okay, and a little water. And I get that off of there and then bring it in a little bit. Okay, and throw that off and get more just plain water. And then bring that in some more until I cover it up mostly. Okay, and then more water. Let's try just water on the center of it and pull it away from the middle. That seems to work. Oops, too much. Too much, too much, too much, too much water. It's interesting. I don't know how well it's going to work. We can try it. What if I add a little more after the fact? Try to even it out a little bit. Yeah, it's been a while since I painted. And the last time I painted, I wasn't satisfied with it. So I just shut down. Said, F it, let's game instead. I wanted to do something a little bit more productive. I've been sitting on this Voyager painting for a minute and I'm like, it's time to get it done. Or at least start on it, you know? And if there's time and I need to let it sit aside and dry, I've got another idea to do. And if I end up using all my time doing the Voyager painting, then I'll just call it a day and do the other thing some other day. All right. Well, that's interesting, but we'll see. Let's see what it looks like to add those colors on top of the indigo. Uh, so let's do the same idea. I think I'm going to grab some of the pure color and put a dot in the middle. And then go from my clean water and just spread it out. Okay, so that's doing like I thought it was going to. It just adds a layer on top of it and it's too dark to do anything with. Part of that's probably because I needed to leave a lighter space in the middle, but it's so hard to manage that. So if I just add indigo around the outer edge of this now, it just turns into a thing that I can't be proud of. Yeah, and it loses some of its color. Yeah, I don't quite like that as much. Yeah, like that. I don't think I like that as much. Yeah, I don't like that as much. Let's try it and see what it looks like. Well, I think I have my answer. And I kind of knew this going in. Manipulating indigo either before you put it on or after you put it on, it shows that you've messed with it. So the top and the middle, you can see that they've been fiddled with, and the color is not quite as rich. The top one's more okay. It works a little better, but the best option out of all of them was really kind of the bottom one. But it also, because of the indigo, it streaks and bleeds into it in a unique way that I think I probably have to be fussed with until it's almost dry and then don't touch it. It's probably what I'm gonna be looking at, and that's okay. I think, if anything, it makes it look kinda like starbursts coming out of it. So I think when I do it large, I think it'll be a little bit easier to manage doing it that way. But the streaks are cool, right? They end up looking really neat, in that. They're kind of cool looking. For what it is, I think this bottom one, doing them both at the same time is the best option. So my idea with that was, let me scoot it over here. I'm juggling a lot of things on the table right now. Let me get this out of here. Scooch. Uh, so I'm thinking the idea then is going to be wet. I'm going to wet down the entire paper with clean water. I'm going to focus on the nebula first, the engine glow look on the wet, and then encroach on the outer parts of those areas with the indigo. Faint at first on the fringes of where those colors are, and then go darker as I go away from them. the whole time trying to keep the whole thing wet and working while it's still on its initial wet pass. And try to get it as dark as possible in the areas that need to be dark and as rich as possible in the nebula area. Because I think I only want to do one pass. Historically speaking, when I try to do a second pass over things is when things go haywire for me, doing the space kind of stuff, at least full scenes like that. And I think I'll cover up all the pretty bright initial colors from that first pass if I did a second layer. So clean water, quickly do the colors for this nebula. So I need to prep those colors and get them ready to go. I have some indigo at the ready already, which I will use uh, from that. I may add more so that I've got enough to go across all of this. And then put it to the side and let it dry until next time. So we've got another hour. I think I can work on this piece of the puzzle for that next hour and get to a stopping point to let it dry completely on its own. And then we'll come back and look at it the next time and see how it got once it dried. And I think I'll let it dry naturally. I won't rush it with the dryer. Yep, I think that's what I'm doing. Clean water, nebula colors, engine colors, a light amount of indigo on the fringes of those colorful things, and then go darker indigo as I go away from them. Then let it dry. And when we come back in the future, hopefully it won't need another pass. And then we can do the stars and the light streaks for the warp look. And then we'll let that dry. And then we'll peel off this masking fluid and do the ship at that time, which is the scariest part of this whole thing, which is crazy to think about. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some room. Oof, not scary at all. Not scary at all. Okay, so let's scoot this over here for now. Let's get this out of the way. Okay. All right, that is where you can see it. I already have these colors. I don't need more. I'm going to put these up here to keep it safe for now. I might bring this down a little bit so that'll sit flat. There we go. Nebula colors. What are we looking at here? So we've got this one up here. So we've got some of a light blue, some yellow, a little tiny bit of orange, and maybe some brownish red, some brown, and then we branch out from there into space. So I think we'll do the same thing. A very faint amount of blue in the center, some yellow around it, touching it so it makes that little green fringe right in the middle. We'll add some oranges around it, some browns, and trickle some of the browns in to make some little cloudy looks. And it'll start shifting to indigo outside of that. Okay, I think that'll work. All right. I'm not scared. Okay. So let's re-wet our palette because it's been just a minute. It might not be ready. And then let me get my wash brush. All right. Let me pre-mix some of the colors I'm going to be using in my palette for that. So I've got a lot over here. So I don't think I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to let's look at this. I almost think I'm going to use some of the cerulean. I don't want to mix that. What am I doing? Maybe grab some of it. Yeah, I think that'll work. Nice and thin, like that. Okay. And we'll need some yellow. nice bright yellow. I am looking forward to that last paint set to arrive. And then we can build our new palette. That's going to be a fun day. I don't even know if we'll paint anything with it other than a swatch card, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try a nebula or something out of it. And we've got ourselves a yellow. Let's go ahead and grab some orange. Get that in the corner. Okay. I think that's plenty. Let's get some of our dragon's blood. That's going to be our brown color. At least in part. I'll just add it to this mixture that's already here. Okay. And add some water to it and get this darker, muddier color over here. Okay. So we have a blue, we have a yellow, we have an orange, we have a dragon's blood and a brownish color. We have our indigo, which I'm going to get some more mixed in. In fact, I might just make my indigo over here so that I've got a large well of it. And then I think we're ready. Scared face? Okay. I mean, game face. Game face. That's what we're doing. Game face. Okay. Okay. More indigo. Let's mix up some more indigo. Actually, let's get some water. And and grab some indigo from the pan and put it in the mixing well over here. I think, I think I have everything ready. All right. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if something doesn't come out well to the point where I hate it, we let it dry, we look at it next time and make a judgment call. Can it be fixed? Do we like it the way it is? Or do we need to redo it? Because the worst thing that has to happen or can happen is I just remake this to this point. It's not truly the end of the world. There's nothing to be sad about. I just have to mentally embrace that and know that going in, that if something doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out and I can redo it. Okay, water. Okay, before adding more, let's do a vertical and evening out. All right. Let me hold it up and see if it got wet all the way across. It looks like it did. However, lesson learned, Arches is really thirsty paper. By that, I mean it can typically absorb a second pass of water, and that'll keep it wet longer. The cheaper paper, it warps really badly when you get it wet. And on top of that, it can't handle a lot of reworking, a lot of passes over it over and over again because it starts kind of bumbling up and pilling. Uh, and it dries so fast. Arches paper is better at retaining the water, but I found when I'm doing like full page stuff like this, and like not like I have a years of experience on this, but my limited experience is that it can handle a second pass of water over it after I let this first pass soak in a tiny amount. And that way it will stay wet longer while I'm working with it, but not heavy. I'm not going to go heavy with the water. I'm just going to do a minute, let this sit, and then I'm going to do one more quick pass left and right, up and down, let it sit for a minute, and then get to work on it. Ah, scary. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I think I did a really good second pass of the masking fluid a couple weeks back. I don't think anything is going to get through it. But just to be safe, I'm going to do my best to only paint to the edges of the ship. If I missed even one tiny spot, it'll shine through really strongly, or in this case, darken through really strongly. So I'm going to try to just paint to the edges of it, but I want to have a good, smooth, even consistency around it. But I need it to be lighter colored around the engines where I'm going to be putting the red and the blue. Otherwise, it will take over. So I'll figure that out when I'm getting down here to it with the indigo. But I'll make it work. We'll see. Okay, let me do another pass with the clean water again. Hair, hair, and, and then up and down one last time.
Mm.
Okay. All right. One last swig of coffee and then it's focus time. Okay. Let's look at it. No puddles, no dripping. It's all soaked in, but it's glossy enough that I can see that it's wet. The tape is pressed down as firmly as it is going to be, so I shouldn't get any paint leaking underneath, I hope. All right. I'm also going to upgrade, I think, to a larger brush. Let me go one up because this is a big surface area. All right. So I'm going to start with a tiny bit of the cerulean. I'm just going to do a little dot of it right in the middle there. And I'm going to grab some of this mix that I did and do a little bit around it. Okay. And let's go for yellow next. Start getting some of the orange in here. Go a little darker with the orange. Okay, let's get some of our dragon's blood. And grab some of the dragon's blood and try to get some little squirrelies going on. Go for the darker brown color. Okay. I think it's drying out. Let's get this in here quick. All right. We're doing a little bit of the blue. Let me dab some out and do a little bit along here, a little bit along here. And let's thin out to just plain water and get that to cloud around it a little bit more. Okay. And here. Okay. Try that off. Let's get a tiny dot of the red and put just a little bit right there, a little bit right there, and then a little bit here and here. Okay, and clean water. And let's brush around it. And around you. And around you. And around you. Okay. And let's hit indigo quickly. Let's use this one. Okay. Yeah, it started drying. Can't even think right now. Let's add a little bit more of the blue. Yep, I think this one's okay. I need to darken that above it. I think this. Okay, let's get some more indigo in here. More.
Okay.
Thank you, Goddess. I appreciate that. I'm kind of scared about what I'm doing right now, but we'll see if it works out. What happened there?
Mhm.
Hey, hey, New Vegas, welcome in. I'm just screwing around, hopefully for the good and not for the bad. I don't know how this is going to come out, but just threw that away and shouldn't have. We'll see. I don't want to mess with it too much because I'm going to start having weird things happening. I'm going with it. Let it try. Okay. I think I'm going to stop there with this for tonight and come back to it and look at it with fresh eyes next time. I started out liking this and now I'm like, oh, I fucked with it too much and took away a lot of its brightness when I had to add more indigo in, and then there was like too much darkness. and then I wasn't happy with it and I fucked with it, but we'll see. I'll come back to it again with fresh eyes and see if I can brighten this back up again in some ways. And then see if I need to mess with the space area before I put stars and warp streaks on it. But I think it might be okay because this is all just like outer reaches of nebula and how it's affecting the space around it. It doesn't have to be pure black, so I think that'll be okay. Goodness. It's a clean this one. Okay. Clearly didn't get as bright as that one did. I was very happy with that one that day. Let's get this out of here for now. Oof. Okay. Well, how's everybody doing? That was like a moment of holding my breath doing all of that. Now I'm wore out. But um I know I used to show you what I saw online. Not gonna do the whole thing, I'll just do a couple little play things here. So online, on Instagram, I saw the cutest little thing somebody did. Okay. And let's clean that up. So they made little clear water, little blobbies, as you do. Right? And I probably won't do it right because I'm doing it like in a hurry. I'm truly just picking random colors. Am I even on the water? I am. So I just made little colored blobs. And oh yeah, I really underdid some of that. Whoops. Anywho, well, that just ran. That didn't work out very well at all. But it can be anything you want it to be. But it was cute. It was just guess you could do circles or shapes, you know, like so, right? And let them dry or make them dry, I guess. So- Right. And then they did kind of what you would expect. They broke out a pen and made cute little faces and stuff on them. Like these are probably still a little damp. That one's pretty dry. But yeah, they just did cute little, you know, right? They just do different little things. You do, I don't know what the little happy symbols are. Yeah, they just drew things on them. Like some people did little cats. They're just turning their little blobs into little creatures. Yeah. I mean, you can do as little or as much as you want on it, but I thought it was pretty cute. Like, I don't have the cutesy, like, instinctive knowing how to draw stuff. Like, you could probably leave it whole, or you can draw a little blobby outline around it. Right? So you can make them outlined, or you can leave them fuzzy if you want them to look fuzzy, but just draw little faces on stuff. It's kind of cute and simple. And then just do like the whole page, nothing but random colored blobs, and then just draw outlines around whatever you feel it looks like. It could be a hand, it could be a turkey, it could be, ghosts, it can be anything you want to be. Dogs, cats, whatever. Oh, I thought it was a really cute idea. So I'll come back to this sheet of paper next time and maybe we'll add more to this and turn it into something. I just like the idea of doing random blobs and turning them into textured little creatures. So, all right, that's enough. I'm done looking at everything. This is over here drawing. It's got a lot to do. And yeah, I'll figure out next time what I want to do with it. I'm unhappy with pieces of the nebula over here, but at the same time, some of it's all right. We'll see. I'm scared to put another layer on because I think that'll just darken it and muddy it to nothing. So I'm going to leave it alone, I think, and just maybe try to brighten what I can over here, and then get stars on and our warp lines, our streaky lines for warp, and then we'll peel off all of this rubber masking fluid and paint the ship. But that's more scary for another day. I'm going to leave it alone. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end for the night. I feel like it didn't do much, but somehow I spent 2 hours, so I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna go eat. So you guys all have a great rest of your night. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And I will be back on Thursday to do more damage. So we'll see how it goes. More Voyager, more randomness. I think we'll just continue part twos of both of these things. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. Let me do a couple of quick shout outs and then I'm going to boogie on out of here. Oh, yeah, I keep doing it the wrong thing. I need to do it over here where it will autofill people's names. Eh, uh, Desert, you were here first. Check out every single person. Who is here? Some stream, some don't. I can't type, especially one-handed and at a distance. That's just not possible for me. But there we go. Ads starting soon. All right, guys, check out everybody I added above. Thank you guys so much. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye. Here go the ads.